The pot roast sat untouched, growing cold, but my mother kept refilling everyone's wine glasses as my brother, Mike, continued his performance. I mean, seriously, he said, waving his fork for emphasis. Who needs a smart device to track their pet's emotional state? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I pushed my peas around my plate, biting back a smile. My name is Sophie Chin, and at 29, I had just sold my pet tech company, Paw Print, to Google for $4.2 billion, not that anyone at this dinner table knew that yet. It's not just emotional tracking, I said quietly. The AI can predict health issues before they become serious. It could save lives. Mike rolled his eyes. Right, because what the world really needs is more hypochondriac pet owners. How many of these magical collars have you even sold? I took a sip of water, thinking about the confidentiality agreement in my laptop bag. The acquisition wouldn't be public until the market opened tomorrow, but the numbers spoke for themselves. 12 million units sold in the past year alone, with a waiting list twice that long. Sales are going well, I said simply. Mike snorted. Going well? Is that why you're still driving that beat-up Honda and living in that shoebox apartment? Face it, Sophie, you should have stayed in investment banking. At least then you'd have something to show for all those genius grades in college. My father cleared his throat. Mike, maybe we should. No, Dad, someone needs to give her a reality check. Mike interrupted. She quit a six-figure job to play with circuit boards in her garage. It's embarrassing. The garage he referred to was a state-of-the-art R&D facility where my team of 50 engineers had revolutionized veterinary care, but Mike had never bothered to visit, so he wouldn't know that. How's the merger going at your bank? I asked, changing the subject. Mike had been bragging for months about a deal he was leading. His smirk faltered. It's proceeding, some complications, but we'll sort them out. He had no idea that I knew exactly why his merger was struggling. During the acquisition talks, I'd gotten an inside look at industry dynamics. His bank was trying to merge with a failing institution hiding bad assets through creative accounting. It would all come crashing down soon. I'm sure you will, I said, taking another bite of now cold pot roast. 3 years ago, when I left banking to start Paw Print, Mike had been the loudest critic. Banking is real business, he had scoffed. Your little pet project is a waste of your education. What he never understood was that my banking experience had prepared me for this. I saw how traditional industries ignored innovation, how they missed opportunities hiding in plain sight. While Mike was pushing paper and inflating numbers, I was building something real. The idea for Paw Print had come after my cat, Luna, got sick. By the time I noticed, the cancer had spread too far. If only I'd known earlier. If only there had been a way to detect the changes in her behavior before it was too late. That's when it hit me. Pets can't tell us when something's wrong, but their bodies and behaviors give off signals. If AI could capture and analyze that data, we could revolutionize pet healthcare. My mother's voice pulled me back to the present. Sophie, honey, maybe Mike has a point. You're not getting any younger, and that apartment of yours. I thought about the beachfront house in Malibu I had just bought. The real estate agent had been shocked when I paid cash. But that's what happens when you quietly build a billion-dollar company. I like my apartment, Mom, I said. It's close to work. Mike laughed. Work? You mean your little pet project? Come on, Sophie, it's time to grow up. Even my junior analysts make more than you probably do with your toy company. If only he knew. His entire bank's market cap was less than what Google had just paid for my toy company. Tomorrow, every financial news outlet would run the headline, Google acquires Paw Print AI in largest pet tech deal in history. But for now, I just smiled and asked Mom to pass the gravy. After dinner, as everyone moved to the living room for coffee, my phone buzzed, a text from David, my lead engineer. Everything's set for tomorrow. Google's press release is ready. You sure you don't want to tell your family tonight? I glanced at Mike, holding court about his latest luxury car purchase. Some surprises are worth waiting for, I texted back. As I helped Mom with the dishes, my father lingered in the kitchen. Okay, sweetheart, Mike was pretty harsh. I dried a plate, thinking of all the times Dad had encouraged my curiosity, buying me electronics kits as a kid, defending my decision to study both computer science and finance in college. I'm fine, Dad, I said, setting the plate down. Actually, you might want to watch the business news tomorrow morning. Could be interesting. He gave me a curious look but didn't press. Dad had always been good at keeping secrets. That night, as I drove home in my beat-up Honda, the same car Luna had last ridden in before she passed, I thought about how different tomorrow would be. The money didn't matter much. I'd been a billionaire on paper for months. What mattered was finally stepping out of the shadows, to show my family and the world what I had built. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah Kim, my attorney. Final paperwork is complete. The merger Mike's working on just got flagged for regulatory review. Timing couldn't be better. I smiled, picturing tomorrow's board meeting at Mike's bank. He'd be scrambling to explain why he'd missed the red flags in the merger, just as my face appeared on CNBC. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't proving people wrong, it's proving yourself right. The morning of the announcement, I woke early and made coffee in my modest apartment. The view of Silicon Valley from my balcony looked particularly beautiful today, or maybe that was just my mood. At 6:30 a.m., my phone started buzzing. CNBC, Bloomberg, then what felt like every financial journalist in the country. They had all seen the press release. Google acquires Paw Print AI for $4.2 billion, marking the largest pet tech acquisition in history. I declined interviews, for now. Instead, I turned on CNBC and waited. At 7:45 a.m., my face appeared on screen alongside the breaking news. Within minutes, my phone exploded with notifications. First, Mom, Sophie, is this real? Call me. Then, Dad, I knew it, so proud of you, sweetheart. Mike's name was notably absent. At Paw Print headquarters, my team was already celebrating. People hugged, laughed, even cried. Many had taken equity over higher salaries. They were all millionaires now. Ms. Chin, my assistant, Rachel, called out, "Your brother's bank is trying to reach you. Apparently, they're interested in investment opportunities." I smiled. "Tell them to contact Google's corporate development team. We're a subsidiary now." 3 years ago, I had pitched Mike's bank for funding. He laughed me out of the building. "Come back when you have a real business plan," he'd said. Now, his bank was desperate for a piece of my toy company, but it was too late. That same morning, news broke that the merger Mike had been leading was imploding. The target company's books were worse than anyone realized. His bank's stock plummeted. Around noon, my mother showed up at the office, tears in her eyes. "Why didn't you tell us?" she asked, pulling me into a hug. "All this time, we thought." "You thought what, Mom?" I said gently. "That I was failing. That Mike was right about me wasting my potential." She looked embarrassed. "We just worried. You worked so hard, lived so modestly, when you could have had such a comfortable life in banking." I led her through the office, showing her the RD labs, the AI systems we'd built, the walls covered in thank you letters from pet owners whose animals had been saved by our technology. "I am comfortable, Mom," I said. "I've been comfortable for a while, I just didn't need to show it off." My phone buzzed. "Mike." I let it go to voicemail. Later that afternoon, I had my first official meeting with Google's executive team. Expansion plans, integration strategies, my role moving forward. I'd be leading their pet technology division, with a significant budget and full autonomy. When I left the Google campus, I saw another voicemail from Mike. "Sophie, we need to talk. This merger situation. I could really use your help. Your exit is all anyone's talking about. Maybe you could put in a good word with some investors." I thought of all those family dinners where he mocked me, all the times he called Paw Print a hobby. When I got home, I found him waiting in my building's lobby. "How did you get in?" I asked, though I already knew. He was still my emergency contact, something that needed to change. "Sophie, please," he said, following me to the elevator. "My career is on the line. The merger is falling apart. Our stock is tanking, and you're suddenly the golden child of Silicon Valley. You have to help me." I turned to face him. "Have to?" I echoed. "Like you had to mock my work last night, like you had to tell everyone I was wasting my life?" His jaw tightened. "I was wrong. Okay, is that what you want to hear? You're the brilliant one, the successful." I let him talk, let him need something from me for once. Then, when he was done, I stepped into the elevator and let the doors close in his face. A lesson in success. "Now," Mom said, "can we talk about how you're going to help your brother out of this mess?" The elevator doors opened to my floor. I stepped out, then turned to face her and Mike. "No, Mom, we can't," I said, "because this isn't about brilliance or success, it's about respect." Mike never respected me, my work, or my choices. He thought success only looked one way, his way. Now he's learning otherwise, and that's a lesson he needs to experience fully. Mike's jaw tightened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying, good luck with the merger, Mike. I hear Google's corporate development team gives excellent feedback on due diligence practices. You might want to look into that." I closed my apartment door on his protests and checked my messages. The acquisition had made me the youngest self-made female billionaire in tech magazine. Covers were already being planned. Speaking requests flooded in. But what made me happiest was an email from a pet owner in Ohio. "Your device caught my dog's heart condition 3 months before any symptoms showed. The vet says if we'd waited, it would have been too late. You saved his life. Thank you." I smiled and clicked over to my real estate agent's website. The Malibu house I'd bought was almost ready. Maybe once I was settled, I'd invite the family over, show them what their failing daughter had really been up to all these years. But first, I had a company to run, and lives to save. 2 months later, I sat on the terrace of my new Malibu home, watching the sun dip below the Pacific. The house was everything I'd dreamed of, modern, open, with a dedicated room for Luna's old things and a wall of thank you letters from Paw Print users. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mike. "The merger is officially dead. Board meeting tomorrow to discuss leadership changes. Please, Sophie, I need your help." I set the phone down without responding. Mike's bank had lost billions on the failed deal. Heads were rolling. Industry gossip suggested his was next. The doorbell rang. Mom and Dad had arrived for their first visit. Mom stepped inside and gasped, "Oh, honey, this is incredible." Dad smiled and walked straight to the wall of letters. He ran a hand over them, reading the stories of pets saved by Paw Print's early detection system. "These are what matter, aren't they?" he said. I nodded. "The money's nice, but this is why I built it." We had dinner on the terrace, prepared by the private chef I'd hired, one indulgence I allowed myself, but I could see Mom struggling with something. "Mike's in trouble, isn't he?" she finally asked. "His choices put him there, Mom, not me. But you could help him, with your connections now." I set down my fork. "Do you remember last Christmas, when Mike spent the entire dinner telling everyone I was throwing my life away, that I'd never amount to anything in real business?" She nodded slowly. "The whole time he was saying that, I was in final negotiations with Google. I was already worth billions on paper, but I didn't say anything. Do you know why?" She shook her head. "Because I wanted to see who he really was, not who he pretended to be when he needed something, but who he was when he thought I had nothing to offer him." The boardroom. The next morning, I drove to Mike's bank, not to help him, but because Google was considering acquiring some of the bank's AI trading technology. As the new head of special projects, I'd be leading the evaluation. Mike was waiting in the lobby, looking exhausted. "Sophie, thank God," he started, but I held up a hand. "I'm here as a potential acquirer, Mike, nothing more. Google is interested in your trading platform. We'll be evaluating it over the next few weeks." His face fell. "But, I'm your brother." "Yes," I said evenly, "and for years, you used that relationship to tear me down, to make yourself feel bigger by making me feel smaller. Now that the tables have turned, you want to use that same relationship to save yourself." I said I was sorry. I studied him. "No, Mike, you said you were wrong. There's a difference. Sorry means understanding the harm you caused and wanting to make amends. Wrong just means the outcome didn't match your expectations." I stepped into the elevator, leaving him standing there. For years, he had tried to break my confidence. Today, I walked past him, head held high. The board meeting was brief. Mike's team tried to impress us. I asked pointed questions, exposed flaws in their system, watched my brother squirm as I demonstrated a level of technical knowledge he never knew I possessed. When I left the building, Dad was waiting by my car. "You didn't have to be so hard on him in there," he said. "Yes, I did," I replied, "not for revenge, for his own good. Mike needs to learn that success isn't about putting others down, it's about building something real, something that helps people. Or, in my case, helps pets." Dad nodded slowly. You know, you remind me of your grandmother, he said. She built her business from nothing, faced all kinds of discrimination, but never lost sight of why she was doing it. I smiled, thinking of Grandma Chen, her fierce determination, her unwavering belief in her work. She had been the first to invest in Paw Print, writing me a check and saying, "Make something that matters." And I had.